Greetings. I see you've made your way past enemy lines to the dark outpost. Welcome, Patriots. I'm David Zublik, your host on this excursion to the darkest outposts of the human mind and beyond. Thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it. We have a great program for you. Coming up in just a moment, we will be talking with Bob Kudla. He's going to be giving us an economic update. For those of you that are heavily invested in stocks and bonds and Bitcoin and other precious metals, that sort of thing, and you're wondering, what do the next several months portend for your investments? Or if you're getting ready to retire, or if you're trying to put some money aside for your child's college, well, with COVID and everything else that's been going on, what's happening with the economy? And how is it going to affect your investments? We'll talk with Bob Kudla in just a moment. We're going to get an economic update as we do just about once a month from Bob. Then, Washington, D.C. is a ghost town. Completely abandoned, it seems. Who's running things in our nation's capital? Is there anybody there? Is the Biden administration for real? Or is this entire thing a huge psyop, as we have been telling you all along? Well, we have a special report to present to you on that. And then in the next hour, we're going to be talking with Emmanuel Blue. He joins us every couple of weeks, and today he's going to talk about Donald Trump. He's going to talk about Joe Biden. Somehow he's going to put the Phoenicians in there. I got to find out what that's all about. I am deadly curious to see what he's got going there. And the number 666 is coming up again. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, we did a visit with him in which he talked about Joe Biden and his connection to Satanism. Does Donald Trump have a connection to 666, the mark of the beast? Well, I certainly hope not. I don't believe it, but we'll get Emmanuel Blue's take on it in the next hour. The following hour, we're going to join Ginny Silcox as she continues her deep dive into directed energy weapons. We started that last week. Much more to discuss on that. Ginny is a regular visitor to the program. She joins us every week, and today she continues her deep dive into the dangers of directed energy weapons. And then finally, in the final hour of the program today, your telephone calls, if you are so inclined. We will get involved in conversations regarding anything that we've discussed on the program, or maybe things that we haven't discussed, but you think we should. So we'll do all of that. That is our agenda for today here on Dark Outpost. But before we get to any of that, let us take a moment and do as we do each day and honor our nation and its flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you so much. All right, without further ado, I wanted to get us up to speed on what's happening with the economy, inflation, Bitcoin, all of that. Many of the states around the country, even those that are being run by Democrat governors, even the cities that are being run by Democrat mayors, are finally starting to open up again following this COVID pandemic. Here in the state of Michigan, where I live, just yesterday, the state finally fully opened again. However, now they're talking about another variant of COVID-19 called the Delta variant. And if you watched the show yesterday, we told you that the Delta variant is a psyop. I'm not going to say any more about it because I want you to watch it for yourself. We had an incredible show yesterday. We have had a ton of response to yesterday's broadcast. We broke some big news, some true news, some important news about Anthony Fauci, about COVID-19, about the vaccines, and about this new variant called the Delta variant. If you missed it, well, it's in the archives at darkoutpost.tv, and the only way you're going to get to see it is to become a darkoutpost.tv Inner Circle member, because that's where we archive all 4 hours of the broadcast every day. You get the first hour or two sometimes on BitChute and Rumble after the live broadcast airs. We leave a portion of the program up there for you to see. But to get the full show, well, you got to head on over to darkoutpost.tv and become an Inner Circle member. It's really worth your while. We'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But right now, what I'd like to do, with your permission, is to play a little visit that we had yesterday with Bob Kudla as we talk about the economy and where things stand right now and what you can look forward to. Are restaurants booming again? Are all the retail businesses going to go mask-free? Are we going to be able to live our lives the way we want? What about travel? What is summer travel going to be like? These are just some of the things that we talked about yesterday when we sat down with Bob Kudla. And here is what he had to say. Well, welcome back to the program. Glad to see you again.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being here. What is the big story on your radar right now? People are still talking about Bitcoin. Mark Cuban is out today saying it's better than gold, and it's been kind of going up and down and up and down. And I don't know. What do you got to say about Bitcoin these days?
Yeah, so you don't believe the hype, and don't believe the people who call it a Ponzi scheme either. Look, it's a digital asset class that has a very unique role that I think is going to continue to grow throughout the economic future of the world, in fact, because it has all the good attributes of gold and has all the attributes of money that you want with none of the downside. And so the reason why people are beating on it so much are the people that vested interests are at risk, right? So, if you're a spend and tax and spend, politician, you don't like this because it limits your ability to overspend.
Sure.
Okay. And
right.
if you're a social meddler in society, you don't like this because that's how you get funded. And if you're a war profiteer, you don't like it because it impacts your ability to wage war by borrowing money and then taxing the citizenry through inflation. So that's what it's up against. And there's some growing pains with it too. It needs to be, Bitcoin needs to have a little bit more spread out ownership. There's still a lot of concentration of ownership, and for this to kind of be a little bit more fluid, if you will. But look, yesterday everybody was talking about Bitcoin going to zero, right? When it went from 33 down to 29,000, people saying "I told you so." Well, guess what? It's at 33,000 again.
Yeah.
So it's just a very volatile asset class. Our view at Trade Genius is own some, and I add a little bit every week. I add it into this downturn, and look, Goldman Sachs and those other investment bankers wouldn't allow their wealth clients to have access to this, whether they agree with it or not, if they thought it was going to zero. Okay, self-preservation would dictate that they wouldn't allow their clients to, their fiduciary responsibility wouldn't allow them to offer this asset. So it does have value, and you just have to learn to trade it and also understand why you own it, and that it's an alternative asset class that is going to become more prominent as we go forward.
Now we're getting into the summer. The country, for the most part, is really finally starting to begin to reopen in terms of all this post-COVID stuff. Of course, we have the looming Delta variant of the COVID-19 pandemic staring us in the face as if there's going to be some other shutdown coming. But for right now, even the most draconian states, like the one I live in, Michigan, have finally fully reopened, dropped the mask mandates. Everything seems to be back to normal. How does that bode for the summer going forward economically, and people spending summer vacation, travel, that sort of thing?
Yeah, look, they talk. I live in California, where we were supposed to be locked down.
Yeah,
and we had very little restrictions on us, and 2 months ago when the restaurants started open, they let them all outside. So the restaurants have been packed out here for months, and the whole southern tier of the United States has been open for the most part too. Businesses never shut down here, and the other thing I do agree with is that you're going to see more people traveling, less on airplanes, more because people made plans already this summer to go places that were local, right? So you're seeing, there's no rental cars, but airlines are still cutting back on flights. So I think people make plans going into the fall. If they don't do anything, try to do anything stupid, you're going to see, you'll see air travel going back to normal again. But out here in California, it's like the virus never existed. I mean, everything is just flying out here. You can't get construction work done. The stores are out of things. The restaurants are packed. The amusement parks are full. The beaches are full. The parks are full.
That's good news.
And so I don't get it. Why people are having issues now. The supply chain issues are different because a lot of that products come from overseas, and they did do some pretty stupid things to curtail production. But we also have a lot of hoarding going on here as well, Dave. A lot of people hoarding because of the Biden administration's spending policies. People are thinking inflation is going to go through the roof, so people started holding back, seeing if they get higher prices. You saw what happened with lumber last year going into now. Is that we'll see more of those kind of things until we get the economic side of the overspending under control.
In terms of shortages, what are the things that people need to be concerned about? Of course, some of these things had really nothing to do with COVID. You had the hack on the meat producing company that shut down their situation for a while. Do we see any food shortages on the horizon? Anything we need to be concerned about that way?
Look, there's two areas that you have to be really concerned about. You got to be worried about chip shortages because Taiwan Semiconductor makes 80% of the chips around the world in the fab plants in Taiwan. So, they're subject to I think could cause great harm if something would happen to that company. And number two, the Western United States is experiencing a very, very strong drought, and it's affecting the Northwest wheat harvest. It's going to affect the vegetable harvest in Central and Southern California, and it's going to affect cattle prices because the rangelands are all drying out. So the cows have nothing to eat, so they're going to be sending those cows to harvest, and it'll be 2 years before they get those cow herds back up to size. So I wouldn't call it shortages, but you're going to have to really think through whether or not you want a steak that's going to be $35 a pound versus going to get chicken.
You talked about the chip shortage. Now that affects a lot of other businesses, automobiles, manufacturing. A lot of cars are completely computer controlled these days. How about home PC sales? Is this going to affect PCs and Macs and that sort of thing?
Yeah, and TVs and monitors as well. Yeah, anything with a chip in it, refrigerators, appliances, everything. Because remember, we're Internet of Thing now, so pretty much everything has a chip in it. So it's going to be a problem. I know they're rapidly trying to get in front of that train. I know Congress wants to subsidize some production being brought back on shore, but we probably have potential 12 to 18 months of issues if and any burp would be catastrophic.
Wow, that's incredible. How's the restaurant industry doing? You said out in California the restaurants are packed. I'm noticing here in Michigan where I live, the restaurants pretty much never lost speed. Even when they were at 50% capacity, they were constantly packed. And now that it's back up to 100, they're packed. But I understand it's an employee shortage that's a big problem right now.
Yeah. I don't know where the employees went. I mean, it isn't as though we killed them, I guess that's the next pandemic, but this one is that, there's one signs everywhere. Part of the problem is, is the unemployment benefits were just incredibly generous. And here's the other thing too. They also have waivers on people paying their rent. So a lot of people have a lot of cash flow because they don't have to spend it on anything else. And they're getting, and look, in some cases, you're talking, $2,000 a month for people, more than they were making working. I saw a lot of people when I took vacation. I saw a lot of young people on flights to Hawaii, heading into hotels. When I mean kids, I'm talking about 20-somethings, and all I could think is that, they're riding on these unemployment checks, and just partying on, so you cheap flights, right? Cheap hotel, no work. And so I think we're going to deal with that for a couple months. They're talking about it a lot now. I think the Biden administration knows that they probably overshot their runway with this. And they're thinking it probably wouldn't be harmful to have more than less money. But people aren't stupid. If you're going to pay me not to work, I won't work.
Yeah, I think the last time you said your daughter is working somewhere right now. Is she in the restaurant business or?
No. She's gotten 2 job offers and she took them both. So she graduated Friday from school Thursday, and so her first job is starting on Wednesday, and that goes basically Wednesday to Saturday. And her other job is she's a skating coach. And that's Monday and Tuesday. So she said, "Oh, hey, I'm going to work 6 days a week." So she's all set and took both offers right away. I mean, these people were glad to have her. She's worked at both those places before.
Yeah.
When she was in school, and now she has jobs as a career. So right away she kept in touch with them, and she got unemployment for 6 months. Because one job didn't start till July, and that's the job she had that she applied for unemployment for. So she's happy. I mean, immediately they called her. They said, "You're going to come back." She said when, and they said the date, and she's like, "I'm in." So
yeah, because she's got a good work ethic. She'd rather work than collect the unemployment benefits, and those things do have to end. I mean, it's time now for people to go back to work and have to, all the stimulus has just been, in my view, too much.
Yeah, I mean, these kids get tired of it. I mean, she's tired of, she went to school, so it wasn't like she was laying around, but it's pretty boring. She missed her friends, and, there's only so much, almost so much laying around you can do, and so I think people will be happy to get back to work.
How did COVID affect your business personally? Did you see less people getting into the market for a while, learning how to trade and that sort of thing? And now that things seem to be opening up, are you seeing a resurgence of people wanting to learn how to trade themselves with a little education and help from a great company like yours?
No, actually, I think when people were let go from work, people had time to explore different options. So, we actually had, a bump in new clients joining us, and for the most part, that hasn't lessened. So I think people are realizing now that there are alternatives, or there are enhancements, if you will, to work where you can be a little bit more control of your future. So yeah, so we were surprised. We didn't know, like everybody else. We're like, let's see what happens here. But the things really started hitting last April, and the last 12 months that our business has been just fine. We've been on a slowly growing trend for the last 5 years, and that trend hasn't stopped. So I think people find this is a good opportunity if they like it and they can grasp the rules. Then people find a really good alternative for earning money. And the nice thing about it, Dave, is that you can do this and work.
That's what I was going to say. Did people working from home started getting into day trading? Is that what they did? They had the time to be on their computer for work at one point, on the other computer checking their stocks and investments?
Yeah, so we're not a day trading site, so I'm sure there's other sites that are day traders that probably saw those.
Yeah, I know that you're not specifically. You're more.
Yeah, but I want to be clear is that, so I'm sure those sites saw an uptick in business too, but when people go back to work, that's not going to last for people, because we were even talking about it today in our room, that day trading is hard. And I don't mean hard that it's hard to make money. It's just, it's exhausting. So, if you're constantly, you're on edge watching trades, that's not a really healthy way to trade. So you can do it for a while, and it's fun for a while. But a better way to trade is to do swing trades like we do, where you can get one or two really good setups every day. And you trade those setups, and then there's always another trade tomorrow. And so we have people that look, we could send alerts right out to the people's phones, and through Telegram apps, and trading devices are on your phone too. So you can just I got something from Trade Genius. Let me look at it. I go over to my other app. Oh, hey, I could trade that thing. It popped the trade on. You put the stops in, or you put your targets in, and you go back to work. We have a lot of people. I would say 80% of the people that trade with us work. And so
that's great.
Yeah, so you don't have to be hunched over, not working and all that good stuff. And if I have something to say, I can say it through a Telegram app, and it takes 2 seconds for somebody to read it, just like getting a text message. So yeah, I don't see it changing. I think one thing that we learned about the pandemic, and I don't want to make it all about pitching Bob Trade Genius, is that I think people found out you don't have to work from an office to be productive. Companies found out that, hey, I don't have to have real estate to be effective. I think restaurants found out that you can have like a couple good, really glory sites, and then the rest of your business is DoorDash in a backwater commercial area where it's cheaper to run your business. And with technology, you get a lot of freedom. I've been working on my own, basically since 2006. And I feel so free, but I work so hard. And so because when I want to do something that's not work, I can do it. And when I have to be up to now midnight to do something to get it done, I just get it done. And so you don't feel like you're constrained in this bubble of time, and then somebody's looking over your shoulder. Hey, look, I was able to watch every one of my daughter's volleyball matches, every one of her practices, because I could. And and you can't imagine how that feels for you as a parent to be able to do those things. And trading just enhances that. So if you retire and you don't have to pick up a part-time job, if you can learn to trade, look, you make $100 a day trading, you're making $25,000 a year. So it's not like you have to swing hard to make a good living. You make $400 a day, you're making $100,000 a year. Look, the average person in the United States makes $55,000, $60,000.
Right.
That's $250 a day trading. You can work up to that even if you have very small accounts to start, and just follow the rules, and you're gonna get there.
The thing that they need, though, is education, which is something that Trade Genius Academy provides. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your company and what you do? As you said, you're not a day trading site. You're not at all. But you teach people the ropes on how to get into trading effectively with smarts.
Yeah, so what we've done is we've created a series of what we call very effective algorithms and indicators. And that's the foundation of our system. And so what we do is we'll first teach you what that system looks like. And in addition to that, you get access to those indicators on your PC. And so that you can then trade what you want to trade and you know how to trade it. But in addition to that, what we do, we just don't leave you be, is that we have chat rooms like you and I are talking. We have voice chat rooms and we have a service called VIP where you can actually have, conversations like we're doing. And in addition to that, we provide trades every day. So what we do is we will give people trades. So the way we like to call it is we'll teach you how to fish. We'll get you the fishing equipment. We'll throw you some fish and we'll put you in the right ocean.
Yeah.
So it's an integrated model. So, some people just offer education. Some people just throw trades out there. Some people just have a room. I've been doing this a long time, and I said, if I had to design something for me, what would it be? And this is what we created. And in fact, that's how it started. We started as a private group of traders doing exactly this way. And then it just grew into something well beyond what I ever thought it was going to be. And now we have, I think 1,200, 1,300 people trading with us, and probably more. I have to check. And we trade cryptos, we trade stock. Some people day trade futures, a very limited amount of people. And then we have just training and coaching that we could help people if they just need a little bit extra assistance. So it's a really good system, and we put together some really good specials for your listeners, Dave. 65% off. They can go ahead and pick one of the 7 bundles, or we still have the Father's Day special running. We'll keep that promo code to the end of the month, but use that one if you want to get anything that's not bundled, 40% off. But you'll like what we do. One of the things that, just so people know, my background is that, I'm business development and did mergers and acquisitions for my career. So we're always looking ahead, and our algorithm looks at money flow and where money's coming into markets. And so we can see when certain sectors are starting to get interesting, and then we'll focus our trades in those areas with our algorithm, and then we'll sweep those every day and pull out a filter list of potential trades and then put the trades on.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, the specials for my viewers are good through what, Saturday?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, Saturday, the 26th?
Yeah.
Yeah, take advantage of it. They're really good deals. We priced everything very affordably.
Yeah, and as you said, you teach them how to fish, you give them a little fish, you give them fishing equipment, and you put them in an ocean where they're going to prosper and find more fish. So I think that's great. And for people who are, interested in getting into the market but are intimidated, you're kind of holding their hand through it. And by the time you let them go, like teaching somebody how to ride a bike, they're pretty confident in what they're doing, because and you're still there for them if they occasionally wobble and say, hey, I need a little help here. So you're constantly providing a level of protection there and teaching them how to do it. That's what I think is cool about your company.
No, thank you. And if you know how to trade, you'll love it too, because we're going to give you trades of things that you may not occur to you.
Yeah, so it could be for the beginner or even the experienced trader.
Yeah, look, I have a room where we have about 30 guys and gals that are trading, and every day somebody will bring a trade up that I didn't see. Even though the algorithm pops onto them, you have to make a decision. You have 20 choices. Which one do you want to take? And the room called GBR, the room called Torch. And I think 2-3 weeks ago we had 30% trades that week.
Wow.
And we were just in GBR again. It went up yesterday 70%. Most guys got 7% on the trade, but it just kept going. Torch, people took Torch. Torch was a double for people. So these are trades that are even if you're a very active trader, you may not see those, but the room will see it and they'll call them out. And so you have a community of people. Nice thing about trading is that I win, you lose. That's not how it works. We both can win. And so you got a community rooting for you. So nobody's like saying, I'll hold this idea back because I don't want to share it. Well, if you share it, it's actually even better. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's fantastic. So my viewers should go to TradeGeniusAcademy.com and do that by Saturday the 26th. I'll remember that date because that's my birthday. And take advantage of these either the bundle specials or some other ones that also at a discount that are not part of a bundle that were Father's Day specials that you're extending through Saturday. But they got to get there by Saturday. And again, it's TradeGeniusAcademy.com, folks. great company, great people there. They really help you out, and you won't be disappointed. You'll be very comfortable working with them. Bob, I will talk to you again next month. Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Thank you. All right, folks. Thanks to Bob Kudla from TradeGeniusAcademy.com for being with us. All right, let's, without further ado now, head over to the Dark Outpost newsroom and see what is happening. What is going on in Washington, D.C., folks? We have been telling you since January 21st that Washington, D.C. has gone dark. I mean, completely dark. The White House is abandoned, right? Now, we have told you that the Biden administration, the alleged Biden presidency, slow Joe and camel toe, is a sham, okay? The whole thing is a sham. It is being run through CGI. It's being run out of movie studios and production companies. There is nobody in the White House. Attorney Lin Wood recently did a broadcast from the White House. He was the only one in the building. There's nobody else there. It's abandoned, all right? The streets of Washington, D.C. are pretty much abandoned. It's like the entire thing has been shut down. Now, we've been telling you for the longest time that in reality, the military, Trump's military, is still in charge. They are running things. And the deep state is continuing to try to put up a front so that you will believe that the Biden regime is in charge. Let me assure you, folks, that it is not. Now, there is a 3/4 replica of the White House in Atlanta, Georgia. That is where most of the press conferences and that sort of thing that you normally see going on at the White House are actually taking place. There is a reporter, and I believe he goes by the pseudonym of Richard Journalist, and he publishes on Telegram and I think a couple of other platforms from time to time. And he's been following what has been going on in Washington, D.C. At one point, he was in a hotel room directly across the street from the White House where a press conference was allegedly going on in the Rose Garden, right? Chairs set up and everything. He's watching the alleged press conference on a television screen, and he's looking at the Rose Garden from his window, from the ledge of this hotel that he's staying on. It might have even been the roof. And he says, this is not real. This is not taking place here at this building. Now, we do know that not too long ago, there was a huge explosion at the White House, underground. The United States military detonated underground tunnels which were being used by the Satanists, the Illuminati Satanists, for pedophilia and child sex trafficking and adrenochrome harvesting. There were thousands of kids rescued from those underground tunnels. No one has been back in the White House since that time. There are still tunnels underground beneath the Capitol. Those have not been cleaned out as of yet. That is the military's next target. But in the meantime, Washington, D.C. is completely shut down. And to prove it, we have a copy of the most recent report by this guy, Richard Journalist, that's the name that he goes by, as he travels the streets of Washington, D.C., where nothing is going on.
Hey guys, it's Code Best Capital. It's 2:13 p.m. on the 21st. Still fenced off to the public. These are the House of Representative office buildings to my right. Got some canna and some, oh gosh, what's the name of that flower? Petunias. Some waved petunias there. Capitol grounds are being maintained by the architect of the Capitol. So we got some strange digging road work going on here, guys. Seems like the new norm. weird digging going on. This is what Washington looks like, guys. So I think a left here. This is the Library of Congress, which, as far as I know, is closed. And so you got a concrete truck up there pouring concrete, making a left here. And this is where, so this is the Library of Congress right here. This is the architect of the Capitol, does meetings here. Still, look guys, still fenced off to the people. No one's even here. That's the Library of Congress. We're coming with the Supreme Court now towards Union Station. Union Station is dead ahead. We got some pumping trucks in here today. Magnolia pumping trucks. Nothing's going on there. Then you have the Supreme Court right here, a little media set up. This is what it looks like, guys. Look how fast I can just come across this. Look at this guy waiting for tourists. No one's here. They're on the Senate side, so the Senate office building's here. The Russell Senate office building is right here. Let's see if we can zoom in here. So the Russell Senate building coming to the left. That's Union Station right dead ahead there.
Sometimes on the way to a dream,
Let's see what these guys are
get
doing.
lost and find a better
Come on,
one.
guys.
Hey, love, I'm Lori. I saw that once written
Tourists.
on a pillow shop.
Look, all just fenced off, guys.
To buy the pillow, but for whatever reason, I was thinking.
Sorry, I forgot to have the radio on. So it's all just fenced off here, guys. The Capitol's fenced off to the people still on June 21st at 2:15 p.m. This is what it looks like. And look at Washington. There's nobody here. I mean, that's Pennsylvania Avenue straight ahead. And it's just abandoned. Look at this. And there's some cars parked, parallel parked, isn't that? It's already past Union Station, coming down off the hill now, guys. This is coming down from the hill. I think I'm gonna stop off at the Dubliner, see some friends of mine. There's a Washington Monument, right? We're coming straight down. So just, you make a left here and then a quick right, kinda. And that's where, this is First Street and Columbia, or I'm sorry, Constitution. This is First Street and Constitution. And you got a cop here, right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Why is this still fenced off, guys? You tell me. That's the latest here from Washington.
Incredible, isn't it? The entire thing shut down. This is the center. This is our nation's capital. These are the corridors of power, and completely empty. There is absolutely nothing going on. Why? Because the military is in charge. Trump is in charge. He is going to be returning in August. All right? That is the latest that we are hearing. I have a tendency to believe it because of what I'm seeing here, because of what I'm witnessing here, what you're witnessing here, that there is absolutely nothing going on in Washington, D.C. The whole thing is a damn psyop. Maybe a little bit later on in the broadcast, when we take some telephone calls, you'll have an opinion on that. Interesting, though, isn't it? All right, let's see what else is going on in the news. Start with this. Traitor IG Michael Horowitz investigating Trump after exonerating the deep state. Yeah, here it is. Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who exonerated the deep state in their Russia witch hunt against President Trump, is now working to bring down Trump and his allies. Back in September of 2018, President Trump moved to declassify everything related to the Russiagate witch hunt, only to then cave to pressure from the FBI and allow Inspector General Horowitz to screen everything he wanted to declassify and make the final call on what else to release. InformationLiberation.com is reporting that Trump supporters were led to believe by the QAnon individual and Sean Hannity that Horowitz was going to bring down the deep state, but instead he stalled for about 16 months before releasing his much-hyped Horowitz report that exonerated Russiagate plotters of any criminal wrongdoing and declared that the FBI was biased in favor of Trump. AG William Barr then handed the ball off to John Durham, who ran down the clock until Trump was ousted from the White House, and Durham to this day still has produced absolutely nothing. Today, Horowitz is still working as IG under Attorney General Merrick Garland, but instead of doing nothing and running down the clock, he's actively investigating the Trump administration to dig up any dirt he can find. Well, folks, let me tell you, there's not going to be much of anything there. Trump has done absolutely nothing wrong, nothing illegal. We know that. Trump is really in charge. Trump is running the show right now. So those of you who are concerned about this, just ignore it. Okay, this is just more blue smoke and mirrors, just bull capital S with a hit. Nothing happening here. MAGA officially declared white supremacy in Iowa schools. Schools in Iowa are instructing teachers that Make America Great Again is a form of white supremacy, according to leaked documents obtained by Turning Point USA's Benny Johnson. Mandatory critical race theory training materials for one of Iowa's largest school districts lists the following as examples of white supremacy, both overt and covert. Are you ready for this? Columbus Day, American immigration law, the belief that America is post-racial, mass incarceration, and MAGA. Johnson reports that hundreds of teachers have been forced to participate in the training, which will be taught to children across the district next semester. Unbelievable, folks. So now, if you are a Trump supporter, if you believe in Make America Great Again, if you believe in the principles that Trump espoused when he was serving his first term as president of the United States, you are a racist. This has been going on for decades, hasn't it, folks? I don't know about you, but I am one white individual who's just about had enough. I've just about had it, because I don't consider myself to be a racist. I don't, first of all, I don't judge anyone, but I treat them as I would like to be treated, and I base my feelings toward them and my reactions to them and the way I deal with them on the content of the character that they display, not on the color of their skin. And yet, I'm a conservative, and because I'm a conservative, not a Republican. I am not a Republican. I am a conservative. There's a big difference. I'm also a constitutionalist. There's even conservatives out there who are not constitutionalists. And yet, because I espouse these principles, and because I'm a white person, and because I'm a Christian, I'm automatically a racist. Have you had about enough of this? Because I certainly have. How long are we going to put up with it, folks? How long are we going to put up with this garbage? Not too much longer, I hope. Camel Toe Harris tells Democrat voters to knock on doors and harass unvaccinated people. Yeah, here it is. Harris literally told a group of Democrat activists to knock on the doors of unvaccinated citizens and harass them into getting one so that Biden's July 4th vaccine goal doesn't fail. The Biden administration set a goal recently to fully vaccinate 70% of Americans by the 4th of July. They look to set they're looking to fail at this goal right now. According to the Gateway Pundit, Americans are refusing to get the COVID vaccine for many reasons, but the Biden administration is still pushing for 70% vaccination so they can wield power over the unvaccinated. Again, this is nothing about saving lives. It's all about power and control. And look, we exposed one of the biggest the biggest pieces of evidence, the smoking gun, if you will, yesterday, that this whole thing has been a fraud. We proved it yesterday. And nobody else is talking about this. Nobody else is discussing this. In our report about Anthony Fauci, we told you that Moderna, back in December of 2019, months before COVID even broke out as a quote-unquote pandemic, had signed an agreement, and we have the documents available and are making them available to you if you want them. These documents show that they, Moderna, were sending to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill samples of a vaccine for COVID-19, a vaccine for a virus that hadn't even been discovered yet, hadn't even been released yet, allegedly, right? And they had a vaccine ready to go, and they were sending it to the labs at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, for testing. They signed these agreements. These are legal documents, and we have the proof. And we're the only ones talking about this, and we're making those documents available to you as part of the bundle too, or you can get them separately, and I'll tell you how you can do that in just a few minutes. This whole thing has been a joke from the beginning. And if you're one of these individuals who are stupid enough to get the vaccine, if you were stupid enough to roll over and allow your family, your friends, your coworkers, your boss, or the dean of your university, or the principal of your school, or the school board, or the superintendent of your public school system to force you to get a vaccine, shame on you. You're going to be dead probably within a couple of years unless you turn things around quickly and nullify the effects of that vaccine. And there are ways to do it. There are ways to do it. Because if you don't, at the very least, these vaccines, these injections, these jabs are going to mess with your DNA. And at worst, they are going to kill you. Do you understand? These are untested. They have no samples of COVID at the CDC. There's nothing to indicate any of this was anything other than a bioweapon, a more advanced form of the flu to get enough people sick and a few people to die, to put the fear of God into everyone, to shut down economies, to shut down countries, to force people to beg for a cure out of fear, and for the government to impose control, mask mandates, and forced vaccinations. Now, they may not literally be coming into your house, breaking down the door, and forcing vaccinations upon you, but they're doing it through psychological brainwashing. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your credit score. You're not going to be able to send your kids to school unless they're vaccinated. You can't go to church unless they're vaccinated. You can't buy a gun unless you're vaccinated. Oh, yes, that is coming too. It's part of the regime's plan to make people undergo a psychological evaluation in order to be able to purchase a gun, a firearm, or ammunition. And when they go to do that, one of the things that they're going to be asked is, how do you feel about the vaccine? Are you vaccinated? And if you say no, you're mentally unstable. You can't own a gun. It's coming, folks. They are coming for you. And so, like good little boys and girls, including some members of my own family, we've talked about them here, a lot of people are getting vaccinated, but there is a way to undo it. There is a way to undo it, because the virus is not going to kill you. The vaccine probably is. Okay? Just that's a fact. So now we've got Camel Toe Harris and her minions going around to the major cities. She's telling these activists to go door to door and harass people who have not as of yet been vaccinated. I tell you, anyone shows up at my door, they're going to get an earful. They're going to get an eyeful. And then if they don't leave, well, they might not be walking away. Let me just put it that way. Harris told the so-called volunteers in Atlanta, for example, to knock on doors and harass people who may be hesitating to get the vaccine for one reason or another. She even gave the activists several pointers on how to overcome objections. Oh, let's hear some of these, shall we? For example, if you knock on the door and someone says they don't have the time to get the vaccine because people are busy, they're just trying to make it through the day. Or they say the pharmacies are never open when they do have time. Well, let's address that. Because now you can let them know that pharmacies across our country are keeping their doors open for 24 hours on Friday in June, including today. because we need to meet the people where they are. Some folks are working 2 jobs. And what if they say they can't miss work? Well, you can tell them that there are employers across the country who are offering paid time off for their employees to get vaccinated, and we want to encourage and challenge more employers to do the same. Have young children? Camel Toe's got you covered. Other folks who need time to recover after they get the shot, right? And they may need a little moment where they need to get some help for their kids. So we've partnered with the YMCA, with KinderCare, and the Learning Care Group to provide free child care for both vaccination and recovery. We need to meet people where they are. You might run across people as you're out and about talking and knocking. Folks might say, I don't have a car. There's no public transportation or bus that comes by my house. And that's fair, because how can we expect them to get to a vaccination site? Darn! Well, now, as part of the solution, rideshare companies are giving free rides to and from vaccination centers. Oh, my God. This woman makes me vomit. But I won't do it on the air, okay? I won't do that. I'm not going to subject you to that, folks. It's not going to do it. How about some good news? Just one little good news, and then, we'll just do one good thing. Governor DeSantis of Florida. Love the guy. Those of you who live in Florida, you have a great thing going for you right now. You have a great governor. Might even run for president at some point, or maybe vice president under Trump, right? Governor DeSantis signs a law forcing students to learn the horrors of communism. Yeah, yes. He signed 3 bills into law yesterday that'll force students to learn the horrors of communism. The Florida governor said, quote, the sad reality is that only 2 in 5 Americans can correctly name the 3 branches of government, and more than a third of Americans cannot name any of the rights guaranteed by the First Amendment. It is abundantly clear that we need to do a much better job of educating our students in civics to prepare them for the rest of their lives. The bill also expands our previous efforts in civics. Oh, that's a class that I took when I was in high school. You don't even hear the terms. You hear social studies, critical race theory, white privilege, but not civics. Civics, to add a requirement for the high school government class that students receive instructions on the evils of communism and totalitarian ideologies. We have a number of people in Florida, particularly southern Florida, who've escaped totalitarian regimes, who've escaped communist dictatorships, to be able to come to America. We want all students to understand the difference. Why would somebody flee across shark-infested waters, leaving from Cuba to come to southern Florida? Governor DeSantis, I applaud you. I'm sure most of my viewers applaud you. We need to teach kids the evils of communism. Yes, we do. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Emmanuel Blue, and he's going to talk about Donald Trump. He's going to talk about Joe Biden, probably throw Camel Toe Harris in there. Said something about the Phoenicians as well. I have no idea where he's going, but he always has a coherent and cogent pattern of thought and brings some very interesting and wonderful things to the table here at the Dark Outpost. So we're going to welcome him. Now, for those of you watching the show live, right, you're going to see all the rest of the program today. We got 3 more hours left to go. After which, the first hour of the program is going to be, archived on BitChute and Rumble. But what about those who missed the entire show and want to see the entire show? Well, the only way you can see the entire show is to become a Dark Outpost Inner Circle member by going to darkoutpost.tv. Why do you want to do that? Simply, if you don't, you're missing great content like this. list, head on over to darkoutpost.tv. Sign up for a 1-year membership. It's only $29.99 for a 1-year membership. Email me a copy of the receipt for that 1-year membership to darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com, darkoutpostdocuments@gmail.com, and in return, I'll send you back either the original Bundle Plus 25 reports on the scourge of pedophilia and child sex trafficking taking place here in the United States and around the world, or the Bundle 2, which contains the Guantanamo Bay list, everyone that's been arrested, charged, tried, convicted, and executed at Guantanamo Bay. Of course, the newest person at Gitmo, although he won't be there very long, he's going to be transferred to Tierra del Fuego for military tribunal, is Dr. Anthony Fauci. We're going to add him to that list. But if you'd like that list, and by the way, the Bundle 2 now also contains those documents showing that Moderna sent samples of their vaccine to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill in December of 2019, before the pandemic even broke out. All you have to do is request either the original Bundle Plus or the Bundle 2. Let us know which one you want in the subject line of your email when you send us that receipt for your 1-year membership, all right? And then we'll send it right off to you. All right, we're going to take a quick 4-minute break. Emmanuel Blue is standing by. He'll be joining us in just a couple of moments, so stick around as we talk to him in just a few moments.